Hi, I'm Card Collector 99, and this is Cards to Talk, and today I have my grandfather on for an interview.
Hi, I'm Dick Herber. I'm Justin's grandfather, and I'm glad to be here.
And so, let's get into it. What was it the baseball like when you were growing up and watching?
Okay, I think baseball back then, which is quite a while ago, was slower. I think there was more stealing, more small ball. I think probably better pitching. Now I think there's a lot more home runs, but also overall, I think that all of the players are much better now than they were then. There were superstars then and there's superstars now, but overall, I think all of the ball players are better caliber. One of the recent changes that I'm kind of intrigued with is the infield switch or shift, where they move over everybody to either on the right field side or the left field side for the infield, leaving a big gap on the other side, obviously. I'm not a big fan of it, but I understand it. I'm intrigued that more hitters aren't able to switch so that they hit to the opposite field. It just seems like they ought to be able to do that, but it doesn't seem to happen very often.
Yeah, and so I agree. I don't see if they're always doing a shift on you, why don't you try go and practice to do that too? I also understand that. My next question is, who were the best players at your time of watching and following baseball in your younger years?
Okay, I guess there's a few things there. When I was growing up, excuse me, when I was growing up, basically we only had the game of the week rather than being able to watch a game every day. We had Mickey Mantle, Yogi Berra, and a lot of those players back then. All were very good, but we didn't see them very often. While I was going to college, or right after I went to college and had spent time in the Navy, the Twins had moved to Minnesota, which is where I was growing up, and so we were big fans obviously of the Twins, and Jim Cat and Harmon Killebrew and Tony Oliva were some of the big players. Now, I'm a big Cubs fan. I enjoy watching Rizzo and Baez and Contreras and those guys.
Yeah, I also am a big Cubs fan, and I personally like Bryant a lot, but I like Baez and Rizzo and Almora too and Contreras. And so, another question I have is, you went to a World Series and watched it live, correct?
Yes, I was able to see the 1965 series, the Twins against the Dodgers. The Dodgers won it in 7 games. I did not see the first game live. I watched it on television. The second and the 6th and 7th game, which were played in Minnesota, I was there in person. It was a very exciting time. Some really good games. The 7th game was won by the Dodgers, and score was 2-0. It was a very exciting time, and the 6th and 7th game a special meaning for me because I was able to attend it with my father.
Yeah. So, following on to that, what was the energy in the crowd during the games there?
Oh, it was very, very exciting. We had all of us were waving Homer hankies like they still do today. That kind of was the first time when those Homer hankies had really come out, and watching Killebrew and Jim Cat and them have a really, really good season and taking the Dodgers to the final game was just really, really exciting.
And so you were a Twins fan back in '65. Who was your favorite player during that series?
Back then, my favorite player was Harmon Killebrew. I really liked watching him play. He was a real good first baseman, and I had played first base when I was in high school and played some very minor league ball.
Nice, nice. And so another question I have is, who was your favorite player to watch during this time period?
During that time when they were playing, obviously was the different. Okay, back then, favorite players to watch were during the early '60s, right after the Twins had moved to Minneapolis and St. Paul, were Jim Cott and Harmon Killebrew and Tony Oliva, and a lot of the Twins players. It was fun to watch them play.
Yeah. Who do you think was the best Twin that you saw to play during that time period?
The best Twin, I guess, would have to be Jim Cott. I think he was a fabulous pitcher. Had a really good record, especially in '65. My favorite player, obviously, was Harmon Killebrew.
Nice, nice. And so, another question is, who was the best player you have ever watched play live?
Playing live, I've had a chance to see a lot of different players at different times, but I think probably the best player was Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers, who won Game 7 of the World Series in '65. He was a real good player. Also had Don Drysdale there, so we got to see him also. And they just had a really, really good team, the Dodgers did, as they do again now.
Nice, nice. And who do you think is the best player ever throughout all of Major League history?
Oh my, that's a tough question. I guess I'd probably go with Ted Williams, Mickey Mantle, Jackie Robinson obviously was really, really great and broke the color barrier. So there's been just so many. It's really hard to pick one out that's really better than anybody else.
I agree, and I personally think that you need a best overall catcher, infielder, pitcher, and outfielder. I don't think you can narrow it down to just one player, personally.
Personally, I think I liked watching Mickey Mantle. He was younger then, but I enjoyed watching him, and he played really good ball.
Yeah, and so thanks for watching, and make sure if you do want to join my fantasy basketball league to let me know. And thanks for watching. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Oh, you're most welcome, Justin. I'm just really glad to be able to do it.
Me too. And we'll see you next week on Cards and Talk. Bye.